What is going on, everybody? My name is 2Bob29. Welcome on back in the lounge yet again. So make sure to kick back, relax, and grab some snacks because it is time for another Roundtable podcast. This time it is volume number 14. Actually insane that I've been doing this 14 times consecutively. I think this is longer than I've had practically any other iteration of the podcast, apart from the very, very first one, which was just an absolute crapshoot, to put it kindly. But I feel like things are definitely moving in a great direction. I think this is a good way to kind of get a lot of players' thoughts and feelings out there about the game, and to give that platform to just players that want to feel a reason or a need to kind of talk about the game, for especially those that feel like they don't get heard. Anyway, enough of me yammering. We have a nice table today. Nothing crazy, and certainly not a packed table. There was a few people that are tied up, and that is totally fine too. If you can't make it, you can't make it. But I have with me here today, as always in recent memory, the man who will tell you he's the man of the people, but he is certainly the man of a whole lot of riffraff. It is Mr. BeeRock Gaming. What is going on, BeeRock?
What's happening, Bob? Not a full-time job is in the house. And yes, I am the people's champ. That is BeeRock. I am here to speak for the people, for the masses, the average Joe.
Is this like a thing where you made up your own belt and then you gave it to Muhammad Ali's mother to give back to you so that you call yourself the people's champion?
Absolutely. And just to let you know that my gamer tag on other platforms is the people's champ, BeeRock.
Ain't no way.
Xbox, PlayStation, it's there. The
Oh
people's
my
champ.
goodness. Alright, well, there you have it, folks. The people's champ himself is in the building. I also have with me someone who has joined our podcast in recent days, weeks, and months, and I'm super stoked to have her. Hopefully, now that we have a smaller table, I can poke her for more of her outlook about the game. It is Miss Kitsu Shell. How's it going, Shell?
Hi, I'm Kitsu Shell. I'm from TNM. And I don't have anything clever to say. I think BeeRock just took my breath away.
You know, the people's champion will do that to you sometimes.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Not wrong.
All right, and of course, the definition of last but certainly not least, a huge part of the heart and soul of the podcast, and a massive reason of why I even brought this entire platform back in the first place. He will have his own subject to go off on today. When it happens, nobody knows, but that is just the way that it goes. It is Mr. Southside Envy.
Southside Envy from You're on the List, and I want to give a big shout out to the People's Champion, Mr. BeeRock Jr. Gaming, who is now the Lifetime Warrior, as he asks Bob on the champion screen, what does MPO stand for? And that'll lock you in forever. But this week's Warrior of the Week is Little Rock 1822, newer player to the game, and appreciate the comments. Get the comments up on these podcast things, because I want to know you out there. Talk to me.
I'm just in shock right now. So, like, before we get this whole podcast thing underway, right? Like, BeeRock, why did that happen? Like, I need to know why you stormed in like an hour into the stream, and Envy's just not let it go. Whatever. You've got like the Warrior for Life award or some shit. What happened, man?
I just asked about the MPO plate.
Oh my god. The NPO plate! There's a plate now. Oh no. Okay. Well, that's I don't think that I have allowance to ban you from the official champs channel, but I could definitely put a good word in.
But then you wait. Then you have to tell what a BO means.
No. We're not having a discussion about that. Outside of that, I'm curious. Little Rock is the name of this commenter. Is that your son that you were saying that we need to get in here, BeeRock? Instead of BeeRock, we got
No.
Little Rock.
No. No.
I mean, you are the people's
No.
champion, right? Isn't that Little Rock?
Believe it or not, his gamer tag is Son of B.
Oh my god, are you serious?
That's
Look it up in the portal.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh. Well, we'll take we'll take a peek at that later on. Yeah, look at that, Son of BeeRock. That's great. Let's hop into the podcast. So, real quick, just wanted to kind of follow up on the MLC as a whole. Okay, nothing like crazy in depth or particular has happened over the past 2 weeks. But I'm curious, now that we're essentially through 4 of the 5 weeks in our MLC, are your thoughts on the MLC as a whole any different now after 4 weeks compared to what they were 2 weeks ago? Like, are you happy with the Armory loot coins? Are you not happy with them? The changes to 99 MP, do you feel like that's going to impact what you've done this month compared to months in the past? Steel Cage is obviously still here, right? However, this weekend there are no debuffs for Steel Cage, only bonuses. And there was a lot of Showdown, but a lot of no more on the minus side of the Showdown MP perks. So it's not really like anything new, I guess, that has happened from the past 2 weeks versus the past 4 weeks. But I'm just curious, like at this point in the MLC, has anything changed for you or your outlook on the MLC? I know there was a couple people that told me their MLC points are way off compared to where they normally are. For me, I am not noticing that. Typically, like about 10 days to 2 weeks, give or take, out from the MLC, somewhere in that range is when I typically max, and that was where I ended up maxing again this monthly. So that's kind of my overall thoughts, outside of going like into detail about it. But curious about what all of you are kind of feeling about the MLC as a whole.
MLC has felt like a slog that we're just doing stuff, but it's not really exciting going on. The good parts are I do like the no more minus MP Showdown perks, because at least I know when when my entourage actually matters. When I set my entourage, I know how much MP I'm going in with, and if there's no entourage allowed, I know with the perks gave me MP4 or didn't give me MP4, whether it's 99 MP plus 6 MP or however many MP I alert, I know that I'm going in what I expect to go in, and I don't have to wonder if somebody has full minus MP or they don't, or where I'm going to land. So there's some consistency in that I like, just knowing what it's going to be when I get in there. And Steel Cage rules are what they are. I guess they're just trying it out all month, and if I don't have everything at once, it's fine. But I like to use all the stuff I have, but as long as I know the rules, everything is fine with me. But there's nothing really that I'm chasing. I got Dom already. Live seems to be a next week thing, probably. And I guess that's fine, but nothing really jumps out to say, oh, I'm glad I got it. Wish I wanted to hurry to get it. And this armory loot is trash. I tried them all, every single one of them. Got nothing but the tier 6 medals to complete a set of everything. So other than that, I'm happy about nothing about the armory loot. I wish I would have saved everything to the end to see how much it got to possibly get something off that shameful prize wall.
I'm super jealous of you getting tier 6 sets for everything. I've hit 150 pulls on that armory loot for the titles. I haven't done any of the moments. I haven't done any of the gears. I only hit that titles armory loot, and I have completed one takedown set. So definitely very jealous of where you're at with that one. Shell, BeeRock.
I
Shell,
know.
I'm gonna go to you, Shell.
Okay. Yeah, it's felt kind of boring, honestly. You know, you had that like exciting little zombie event in the middle, which that's what I'm remembering this month from. That's is what it is. But with the armory loot, I haven't tried the gear. I did a few on the moments because there was a bit you know, most of the ones I needed were in there. That was trash. I got nothing but shards for characters in the moments for the first like 3 pulls I did. And then I got a moment that I already had. But what's amazing moment, it was the heartbreaking manager one,
Okay, that's kind of cool.
which for anybody else would have been fantastic because that's a great one to get.
Right.
And then I did the rest in titles, and I did semi decent on the top. I didn't do as good as B-Rock, but I did better than you.
well, thanks.
Um, yeah. As for the MLC, you know, I maxed right around like what you said. Like I maxed around when I usually match. The only difference I would see is I still don't have Liv, and I probably usually would have had that character by now, but I'm not far off. So yeah, it's not too bad.
Gotcha. All right, BeeRock, talk to me.
Sorry, I meant NB, not B-Rock.
You're good.
When I misspoke earlier. Sorry, B-Rock.
No, you're good because we're
You're like almost the
we're
same
pretty
person.
much we're very close. We're very close.
You
Shell.
are. You are.
Yes. We're a bridge away. No. So in regards to this, I think I used the word cheeks last time that we were in a podcast, and
Cheeks.
I'm gonna kind of shy away from using the word cheeks. I'm talking we're BBL cheeks at this point
Jesus,
because
BeeRock.
this month is ass. This is like leftover Thanksgiving dinner. We just threw a whole bunch of stuff together and tried to make a meal out of it. We have we got zombies, we've got Judgment Day, we've got revamps, we've got MLC, we've got Steel Cage, we've got all of this stuff that's just there. We've got new gen women. Like it's just a cornucopia of ass when it comes down to how this month is.
A,
What's the point?
a
Somebody put me in.
cornucopia of ass. I'm sorry, go on. I've never heard that one before, but that's great. Okay.
Just point me in the direction that we're going for the month. Somebody, anybody. What is, each month sort of has always had somewhat of a theme.
Yeah.
What is this?
I don't know.
Is it Judgment Day? No, because then we get Punk, which is like it's frustrating
The
with
theme
the
of the
simple
month.
fact that you can't plan now as well.
The theme of the month, by
This
the way.
armory loot is trash. This is next level trash, and I haven't even spent anything yet. I'm still saving. But I was on a great pace, and then all of a sudden, none. All of a sudden, it just kind of like dried up. So now it's like, all right, well, I'm not getting the tippy time. So now I got to figure out what I'm going to spend this stuff for. And if you listen to people who have done these pulls, they're like, yeah, I didn't get anything. I think Merrick's did 24 on and posted it, and he got 2 6 stars out of 24 pulls. That was it. Everything else was garbage. The fact that you've taken away the decision making and the pre-planning for what is needed, because you've taken that away, now the want is a lot less than it has been in the past. So I'm just gonna say, if we tried this out for a month, Scopely, don't do this no more.
So I had to look it up, but the theme of the month was Women's History Month.
Yep.
That is the theme of the month.
Did I name that in any of the stuff that I just talked about? No.
Nope.
So that's a horrible theme.
Nope.
Yep.
Which I understood it in the very, very, very beginning, when we were told that that was essentially what it was for, and when you read the blog, that's what they talk about at the very bottom of the blog on the, what is it, then, now, forever, together thing, right? So when you actually look at the very bottom of the blog, in celebration of Women's History Month, enjoy 4 weeks of Women's Division Superstars as CSS in tours. That's essentially what this was.
So we got Bull Nakano. Okay, historic. I'm gonna give you that. Yes.
Yep.
What's the next woman we got?
Liv.
Oh, we got Liv. And it's a modern Liv.
Uh-huh.
And she's worse than the Liv we got last month. I guess that's historic.
That
Okay.
was something.
Who else did we get?
Yeah, well,
I know I'm missing another woman. I know that I'm missing a historic woman that we got.
We got Dom.
Nope, not a woman.
And then we got someone else that we'll
CM
actually
Punk
talk
with
about
long
here.
hair.
CM Punk.
Got it.
CM Punk this weekend.
With the long hair, he could be mistaken as a woman. Okay.
And
there's no historic woman.
And St. Patty's Day.
Oh yeah, you can't forget
Hornswoggle. Where's the woman? Where's the historic woman?
Yeah, I mean Bull Nakano, and that's kind of it. just being honest.
So Bull Nakano, which is the lowest tier available, is the theme there.
And to be honest, I am not, like, forget that I'm not like a Bull Nakano fan in the game. Like, yeah, I get it. She was definitely an older female wrestler, and respect to her. I've never seen her in the ring, right? Some of the player base is just ignorant to what she looks like as a wrestler. So the like attachment there is very slim. And then in terms of actual gameplay in our game, right? New gen female, they just came out with Liv. They just came out with Asuka. Bull Nakano is the worst. Bull Nakano is better than Alundra Blaze, but that's it, right? That it's pretty bad. So, yeah, I mean, nothing really new for me in terms of the MLC thoughts from week 3 and 4 compared to week 1 and 2. I still stand by what I said on Armory Loot Coins before. It was a bad replacement of the month-long midweek prize wall. If it was in addition to, I think people would like it a whole lot more. It is not, therefore it is bad. On top of that, yeah, it's kind of cool that you can maybe get some tier 6 medals, but you have to roll for it, and it's all RNG. The option of being able to choose your moments before versus rolling into moment loot pulls, kind of like what Shell did, where it's like, hey, I got a 6-star bronze John Cena showboat. Like, great, who cares? That's pretty horrible as an alternative. Or as a replacement and not an alternative. If Shell was given the option of like, okay, I have 25,000 month-long midweek prize wall. I can pick a moment of my choosing, or I can turn that into moment loot coins because I already have all these moments, and sure, maybe I want to take a chance at getting a 6-star bronze Showboat John Cena, right? Because I'm never going to work him up or anything like that. Then she should have that choice. She should be allowed
Right.
to choose, not be backed into a corner where it's like, I don't need any of this other crap. I'm just going to, throw the darts at the wall and hopefully something sticks. And you realize that none of them stick. And that goes for all of them, right? That goes for the gears. The gears are okay in terms of like the quality of them. The price is absolutely insane. The moments loot is just not good. The only one that has any relative value at this point in the game, especially since the medals are new, is the titles loot because they have tier 6 medals. And then even then you need to get lucky to get those. And then not only do you need to get lucky to get them, you need to get lucky to get the ones that you need. And then not only do you need to get lucky for the ones that you need to get lucky to get the proper set that you need. So it's like, okay, I got to get lucky once for a tier 6. I got to get lucky twice that it's a gem damage. I got to get lucky a third time that my gem damage tier 6 medal is a Fury. And it's like, well, I hit a tier 6. It's another takedown move defense. Like, it's not great, right? So my thoughts on the armory loot coins, not changing. The 99 MP, I think now more than ever, and I think my lineup is attributed to this, there's a 6-star silver spot for Dominic Mysterio. I'm not even bothering taking Dirty Dom up to 6 silver. I'm not really thrilled with his gameplay. I know some people absolutely love him. I'm not one of those people. I don't feel the need to go above and beyond for someone like Dom in this, like in his strength level in this game, to make him work. He can work. That's great. But with 99 MP going away, I'm just not going to care. He is going to be good enough with his Power Gem moveset after this month is over. That's not going to bother me one bit to use him if and when he's needed for Power Gems or for Dominic Mysterio requirement. But as a striker, as a modern, no, I'm not using any of those. I'm just not using him at all. So the idea to take him up to silver for this lane, it's not happening. I already feel dirty for taking up Dirty Dom up to 6-star bronze just for the extra points this weekend. But that's kind of the limit on that. Revenge Tour Liv, she's okay, but not great. Same thing, took her up to 6-star bronze for the points here. And wherever she's going to be required in the lineup, sure, but not really bothered about taking her any higher because, again, no 99 MP moving forward. And then Steel Cage as a whole, again, I'm kind of over it. It gets boring after a while. For people that actually spend money or time or effort on the game to be told you cannot use blah blah blah, you cannot use yada yada yada, that's really not fun, right? Like, that's not an enjoyable experience for anybody, where they spent money, they spent time, they earned all these things, and it's like, okay, now you're not allowed to use them. All the skill plates that they came out with, can't use them. Like, that's not fun. So this feud, this weekend, being a prime example that Steel Cage is not restrictive, that's great in terms of, well, people now get to use all their goodies. And that's totally fine. But for us to have to go 4 weeks into a month to finally get the chance to use the stuff that we want to use is very frustrating. A very frustrating experience. Look, I'm digging the no more minus MP on Showdown perks, but it's so biased because we've had this midweek showdown for the zombies one that came with 99 MP. We've been using the revamped Judgment Day Rhea in Showdown, and the perks give her +6 purple and black, and then her gear gives her another +5 or 6 MP. So it's like, cool that there's no more minuses, but the opposite of no minuses is now everything is fully loaded turn 1. And it's like, that's a wild swing in terms of Showdown. So I'm okay with the idea that I don't have to keep on swiping and filling up all the moves and stuff, but just straight to essentially everything's 99 MP again, I'm not really thrilled with that personally. But that's my thoughts on the whole thing. Anything else that anyone has to say about our MLC as a whole before we move on to discussing a couple of the new characters?
So this really feels like
Go ahead, Dimby.
this really feels like a tester month. So it feels like they're just trying to test stuff out. The armor loot, they're just trying to get a feel for how much we really love RNG. Even though they should know by now, we don't. But they keep on trying to push it because that's all this game mostly is RNG. Let's see how lucky you are in getting the things that you want. We'll show you a bunch of great things, but probably won't get them. And the steel cage, they rolled it out once. People didn't like it. They rolled it out again. People didn't like it. So they're going to hit you with it in multiple ways to see which way makes you the happiest. And usually the answer is none of them.
Right. Go on, BeeRock.
So I have a question, and if you happen to know something, because being corporate Bob now, you have special intel sometimes, but is there a historic woman that could save this month? Who would it be?
That I have no clue, and I don't think
Exactly.
I don't think there's going to be another female or even another character that's coming out.
Well, there's another
Okay.
week, so there's probably going to be one more.
I would say there could be a woman that could save.
Who?
Save Elizabeth.
Okay.
Bring out Elizabeth. Give her some OP moves. Shit she's never done in the ring before. But people would see the name and be like, "Oh, it's Miss Elizabeth." Other than that, I honestly I can't. I agree with you, Vera.
So it's like,
So
As a woman myself, this whole the whole thing when they announced Women's History Month. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. And then we get Bull Nakano again, cool. And then it's Liv and Dom, and it's like, what? And then Punk, and it's like, are you punking me? Are you punking me now? Hornswoggle, you know what? Get out of here with this. That's just like a slap in the face.
Yeah, it's been something, to put it kindly. But yeah, we're talking about the new characters. So anything on the MLC before we move on to the new characters? I think that'll be a good topic that we could discuss, and kind of has a little connotation on the MLC as well. All right, let's go ahead and move on to these wonderful characters of ours. So we got a couple of new characters in the game this monthly, both by surprise, entirely by surprise, which kind of shocked me that we finally had not one but two characters that nobody had any intel about. Typically, everybody's always gung ho about figuring stuff out and sharing and leaking information and all that jazz. But that didn't happen this month at all. And we got not one but two new characters. So the first character that we got was I was in shock when the blog showed up that I had to read, and I was just like, this is a thing. This is actually happening. This is absolutely actually happening. St. Patty's Day, there's a Hornswoggle. Entirely confused. I don't think we've ever had a St. Patty's Day event in the history of this game, and I could be entirely wrong on that front. But when I saw that there was a St. Patty's Day event, I kind of thought to myself, something funky's got to be going on here, right? Someone's got to be getting a new character or something. There's a bunch of people that are thinking, it's got to be Fit Finley, right? And all this type of stuff. And no, it's Hornswoggle. Mind you, I think Hornswoggle is absolutely a fantastic character for our game. But yeah, that one caught me way off guard. Way off guard. And the other one, as has been alluded to in the podcast so far, is the voice of the voiceless, CM Punk. Punk has another character in our game, Mr. PG Acrobat, CM Punk, which is what this whole weekend is about as well. So we finally got a strong PG character added to the game, which is Punk, and he had his own Showdown weekend, and now he has his own feud weekend. So we're not going to talk about like the events and all that because we still got that on the hit list, and there's plenty more for us to talk about. But character wise, just discussing new characters, which we kind of already touched on a little bit with it being Women's History Month. What's everybody's thoughts on on Hornswoggle and Punk?
I'll start off and say I have no opinions because I have neither one of them. I don't even have Liv, so that's 3 out of the 5 characters this month I don't have. So
That's crazy.
can't be as lucky as you, Bob.
No. Don't cast aspersions my way with the whole luck.
Bag pulling Hornswoggle live on stream.
Yeah, okay, listen, the bag pull luck made its way back, alright? And I'm thrilled with it.
I watched it.
I did too.
I watched it.
I watched him do it, and then I got mad because I went and hurried up and jumped on my game while I was at work.
Yeah,
And said, okay, oh my, I got to get this. I know if Bob got it, I got a shot. Nope.
I think we're the same person sometimes, BeeRock.
Look, alright,
Nope.
listen, this part of the podcast was not to start casting shade on Bob. It was, what are your thoughts on the characters?
I'm going to say I didn't think I'd be a Hornswoggle, Mark. But when it came out, I was like, yes, this is great. Oh my God. And then I watched you play him. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And then I have no shot to get him. I have to wait a year.
I'm so sorry.
Which
We
sucks
have
because he
to-
does look fun.
He looks incredibly fun. And that's what the game's supposed to be. So I'm like, Scopely, way to go. This character's great. You've heard me say before, I don't like us regurgitating the same old, same old. So we had Bull Nakano, new, fresh. We have Punk, new, fresh. Hornswoggle, which people have been clamoring for years,
Yeah.
comes out. Yes. And what happens? You got 2 days to get it, and then you'll never get a shot at getting it ever again. And if they do it like Barker the Moon, you just literally took a whole lot of momentum and turned it into, and I know I said dry snitching earlier, so we're going to say a wet fart. Because that's what you did. You took all the momentum and it's gone. Because now you have all these people who are like, there's people in my faction who are 200 shards away from him.
I mean,
Nothing.
Yeah, there's people that got really close to him, and it's been a wasteland when it comes to terms of his shard availability. It is non-existent, entirely non-existent. Envy, your thoughts on Voice of the Voiceless? I feel like that title kind of signifies who you are, and maybe some Hornswoggle. Any thoughts?
Well, I'm going to start with Hornswoggle because I also was there when you bag pull Hornswoggle, and I said, well, not even before we got to the bag pull. When you first saw him on stream and you were going through the moves and how giddy you were about him, I said, I gotta get him. So then I went out and tried to do my bag pulls and get lucky because I mean it happens sometimes, and no luck. Then you told me how easy it was to match the competition because you did it, but you had the Hornswoggle. So I said, oh, it's gonna be easy. I can probably get him. Nah, we had to do a lot. Had to do a whole lot. But I got him. He's on the roster. And I wasn't even going to use him this feud, but I put him in the lineup because I just remembered I had him. I said, oh yeah, I do have Hornswoggle. I need to get this guy out in these streets. So we're going to see how he works in these streets in a little bit. But yeah, I'm thrilled to have him on the roster. I am thrilled because my $1 million man is back in business. I can break out these make it rain medals and put them on the strap. We can do all sorts of damage with these loot gems now.
Yeah,
Or maybe not.
Well, okay, so I actually I don't know if the video has been posted yet, but I definitely have a $1 million man video in the works with Hornswoggle as a coach. But it's on my content creator account, so Hornswoggle's only 25K there, not 100K as a coach. So whatever you see on that video, you can essentially times 4 the damage output, which is already crazy because of how $1 Million Man's like mechanics work. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot, and I try to market that in the very beginning. This build is not for the everyday person. There's a lot that goes into the build. But yeah, it's fun. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, I did bag pull Hornswoggle. Yes, it was on stream, and yes, I was absolutely giddy as all hell when I fucking got him because I knew just how strong he was, just how strong he can be, and it wasn't even just the strength aspect because, as you can see for those of you that are watching on the playback here on YouTube, I'm not using him in my lineup right now. Yeah, he's strong. Like, he's very strong, but he's just more fun. He's just a super, super fun character. That's what it really comes down to. And so I will probably go ahead and swap out to him at some point in this lineup just because it's so ridiculous and fun to watch Hornswoggle absolutely destroy everybody. But I love that character. I love that whole concept. I love the idea that like all of his MP charges are so small because that's the whole play on everything, right? I absolutely adore the coach. We finally got something for loot gems after all this time. We've been blockaded off of loot gems for so long, and now we finally can use loot gems again. Like, I'm thrilled with that. So really, really a huge win in my book for Hornswoggle. I thought the event as a whole was pretty good. Obviously, to me, it was great if you got Hornswoggle. But even still, if you didn't, I thought it was fairly decent. There was good stuff, decent payouts for green, which it was weird. They made him a trickster, which makes sense, but everything for St. Paddy's Day paid out green because it's St. Paddy's Day. So it was weird that you had a purple character getting green payouts, but whatever. That's fine. You deal with it. It was enjoyable. The character, fantastic. Definitely will be using him in the near future for sure. Just for fun, if nothing else. Outside of that, Punk, on the other hand, Punk is definitely the best PG character in the game. That's because all the PGs suck, to put it kindly. He's good. He's got some really weirdo sets where he makes color turns and then turns yellow, and he has the yellow move that gives him blue MP and yellow gem damage. It's okay. It's not amazing, but that also comes with the MP up steal thing. Fine. He's got a relatively decent sub, but I don't like it. When I made the video, I was caught off guard. I thought it was 2 million damage on the sub. It's 200 something K. Like, it's just not good as a sub. He has this really cool 1 MP move that steals pretty much all your blue MP, does a bunch of damage, and then increases your multi-gem strength. But the problem there is, like, you can only do that once. He doesn't have a choose move where you can recycle and do that again. So it's kind of iffy for me there. And then he's got a solid triple green set, right? Like, you make pretty much the whole board into X-Break gems. You turn maybe, a half dozen of them into multi-gems of strength 20, so they're really, really strong. And then you pretty much turn the board green. So all of it is X-Breaks and multis and greens, which, okay, cool. It's weird to me that Punk has the whole X-Break theme. I guess it's because of his, like, the X that he makes when he crosses his arms when he does his entrance or whatever. I don't think about Punk when I think about X's or X breaks or any of that stuff in WWE. I think about DX, right? Like, they do the cross chop. That's where your X breaks come in for sure. Punk doing the whole X break theme on all of his characters is weird. But easy come, easy go. The characters are interesting this month, to put it kindly, but kind of circling back on what I was alluding to earlier. It's funny to me that they came out with not one but 2 surprises, both of them male, during Women's History Month. That was the oddball for me. Like, great, you guys finally got surprises. That's awesome. Why are we pushing Women's History Month when it's these 2 guys? It was just so funky. There's really not much to say about the St. Paddy's Day event. We can talk about that here, but I don't think there's that much to go over. So if anyone wants to chime in on Hornswoggle and the St. Paddy's Day thing, then by all means. If not, no worries. And outside of that, we've already talked a little bit about Punk. So we can continue on either of them, or we can move on to what Shell also alluded to earlier in the podcast, which is zombies. So last call on the new characters. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and move on to the zombies. It is spring Outbreak 2025, and boy oh boy, was there a lot of content. New gears for all of the zombies outside of Chelsea that were released this past zombie event. We got Brett gear, Bailey gear, Punk gear, and Knight gear. All of them are pretty damn decent. There's a new moment for them all. There was the Zombie Bailey faction boss. There was also the massive prize walls for both week 1 and week 2, which I need to actually go and still spend a little bit of my week 1 prize wall, because that ends at reset today. But lots to talk about for zombies. Not just week 1, week 2 also, which includes the Showdown side of things. So I will I'll forego this one and give it to the field here, so to speak. What was everybody's thoughts on zombies this go around?
Always,
Good.
always love the zombie events. They're always fun to break out. It seems like they're really holding against me that I didn't pick Becky over Liv when we first had the chance to, because yet again another zombie event. Yet again no Becky, and I'm still 135 shards away. I can never get in the range that I want to get in to take the charge they're offering. So no Becky again, but got a lot of great stuff. Got the CM Punk. Got a lot of plates, got a lot of things. Everything was decent enough in the event, but it was once again kind of expensive if you really wanted all the good stuff.
Zombies is always expensive. So you didn't have CM Punk before walking into this event, but you walked away with him?
Yes.
I mean, to me, that's the best win. Punk Punk is arguably top powerhouse in the game. If not top powerhouse, he's certainly amongst the podium, like with ease. So huge win there, at least in my opinion, for you. But yeah, Zombies event is it's expensive, which I guess I'll chime in real quickly here and say I was not expecting to spend, let alone as much as I did on Zombies event. I had all the zombies going into the event, and I saw all the gears, and as good as they are, I was thinking to myself, there's no way that I'm going to be spending on them because these zombies are already too good. Like, if I'm already doing 100 mil with CM Punk, do I really need to get a gear that gives him plus 4 more MP? Not really. If I'm already doing close to 200 mil with Zombie LA Knight, do I really need a gear that's going to make him do 300 mil? Not really. And so, like, I had convinced myself very early on that there was no way that I was going to be spending on this event. And then the Screamium loot came out, and boy, did everything change. Shell, I know you're a zombie mark, so why don't you go ahead and enlighten us with your zombie adventures?
When you asked how what everybody thought, my first thought was expensive. But as you said, I am a zombie mark. I am known in other factions that I am a zombie mark, and I will go hard for them. I missed out on Punk and LA Knight last MLC. I was very close to Punk, and I was like, less than 1,000 away from LA Knight. So I guess I was close because he was a 5K recruit. So I was determined. I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them, and I got them. I ended up getting them and all the gears and the moment.
Yeah.
And I just in general, I love the zombie events. I love the zombie characters. I enjoyed those 2 weeks. Like I said, like looking back over the MLC, that's what I'm gonna remember.
Right. Yeah, I mean it was definitely the win on the month so far. BeeRock, thoughts? Zombies? Is this an event that BeeRock finally likes, or are we going back to Hall of Fame BeeRock?
The Hall of Fame BeeRock would be rearing his head during this, but at the same time, I can't go all scorched earth because for me, I was busy, so I couldn't spend as much time as I would normally do. I ended up 3,000 away from LA Nah, and that was the only one that I wanted. I could care less about the rest of the stuff. So based upon that, it was just another event. I'm not gonna bash it because it was my own fault. So because I was so busy, I just looked at it and it's like, all right, well, it was what it was. I grabbed 2 plates out of it. I got the heart stopper plate and mm, I got something else, some other crap, and
Some
we'll just
other
call it a day.
crap. All right, let's tone it down a little bit there, BeeRock. Goodness, language.
No, I'm just saying it was. You know what? It was my own fault. So I can't be mad. Um, I just know that for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people in my faction, that Screamium loot saved a lot of people, and they ended up being way ahead of where they were because they pulled characters.
I mean, yeah. So my take on this whole thing, I think, and I'm very with Shell on the note of this is kind of what saved the month. Um, it definitely was a huge win for a lot of players out there. Not named BeeRock because he was busy. But this event as a whole was awesome for the masses. This was a wonderful experience for a lot of players out there. I saw people that were picking up zombies that they never thought they'd be able to get. I saw people picking up huge 8th anniversary skill plates that they never thought they would be within striking distance of. There was a lot that people got to walk away with in terms of this weekend. Sorry, this midweek. The event was good in terms of like you don't need every single zombie in the game, which is how most of these events have always run in the past. It was kind of frustrating for people that didn't have Zombie Night for the Showdown, and that was definitely an argument point or whatever you'd like to call it. There was a couple of CSS, but that's how the game runs, right? Is that you need to have these characters to make progress. But the availability of practically all of them, they were available in some way, shape, or form or another. And that's a huge step up from them typically being unavailable. I like the idea of the prize walls. I like the idea that you could get all of the gears off the prize walls and none of them were loot exclusive. That was a huge win. I think altogether this was one of the better midweeks and one of the better zombie spring outbreaks that we've had. I myself ended up going out of my way to get the Bailey gear. I really wanted the Bailey gear. I like the idea that she can go from move to gem damage. I still haven't done the video on her with the gear. I have done a video on her with the 8th anniversary plate and the rumble plate, and it is some sickening damage. But now that I have everything on my own account, instead of doing it silver, I can do it at gold, and I have better stuff on my account than I do the CC account in terms of kind of showing topped out damage instead of just kind of the basic damage. So that'll be a fun one to kind of highlight. Brett is Brett. I mean, you're never really going to be bothered with actually using him, and if you are, he'll be good enough if he has to be your number one showboat. There's no need to go out of your way to forcibly get his gear. People got it, myself included, because it gave you event progress, which gave you kind of a kickback on all your prize wall for both walls. So that's kind of how I viewed it, was like, okay, I'm going to convert 15,000 week 1 prize wall back into 5,000 week 1 prize wall, so it's essentially only 10,000 out, and I'm going to pick up 500 week 2 prize wall. And that was the win for me there. So that extra prize wall for week 2 allowed me to get not only the silence plate for Zombie Bailey, which was super awesome, but I also got 150% move damage strap for Bailey, which this whole time I've only had a 50. So that's going to be really fun to be able to still use Bailey with move damage, and to also have a gem damage strap for when I want to just see absolutely insane, crazy numbers. So it's an interesting experience, to put it kindly, in terms of how this whole zombie event looked. But I liked it. I thought it was rewarding. I thought it was good for the masses. I thought there was enough of a range in terms of prize wall that just about everybody could pick up something. The moment was okay. I liked the idea that you could get it out of the Showdown. I didn't like the idea that some people got it essentially for free, and then other people got 0 tokens. So that was kind of lame, but the idea that it was available was cool. Look, if you're going to give me a chance at earning a moment instead of having to spend for a moment, yeah, sign me up for that. And the last thing I'll say, and I kind of touched base on it before, the fact that the 8th anniversary skill plates were available on that week 2 prize wall was a huge win. Those are very strong, and especially the trap gem plate. So I managed to get enough prize wall to walk away with that. I didn't care about the LA Knight gear. My own experience was this was a good event. I probably spent too much money, but I also walked away with a bunch of stuff. I walked away with 3 new 8th anniversary skill plates, a new rumble plate and 2 duplicate rumble plates, 2 new gears for the new zombies, almost a dozen 150% damage straps, whether they're gem or move. I had a win on this event. It definitely, like Envy said, cost something, but I had a win. So I think that was a very good event in terms of rewards for everybody. There were enough rewards for people that didn't spend a dime, and there were enough rewards for people that spent a lot, even if they already had every zombie. So that was good from my point of view. Anyone else on zombies? Because I kind of rambled there for a little bit.
Oh yeah, so if we're getting into what we got, coming out the gate, when I actually purchased the first thing to get the pulls, I got the elusive 150% gem damage strap for the Striker Attitude Era. And at that point, I was already settled on happiness. Then those pulls was giving out the zombie CM Punk shards pretty much guaranteed. I don't know why they were coming out in such abundance, but they were, and I was thrilled about that. So I knew I was going to land CM Punk before too long. And once I finished all those first set of pulls, CM Punk was there, which allowed me to help the faction out and do the whole tour thing where you had to use them over and over again to get points. So I was putting up big numbers on that because I just wanted to test them out. Then, when we got to the greatest prize wall ever, my Bob gave me the plan. So I watched the video, and he said, you buy the gears, you get a rebate, you get more prize wall. Mm-hmm. So I had enough prize wall kind of loaded up, and I said, well, first I got to start off and look out for my Jinder. So I went out and got that trap plate, that trap anniversary plate. And I said, okay, so we got Jinder all settled in. Then I watched Shell the night before working out with Bailey, and I said, oh, that Bailey looks good too. So we got the Bailey gear, we got the Brett gear, we rebated back, we got some econ and stuff. And then I turned around, I already had the X plate, so I went for so then I looked at the old 2Bob videos to see which of the 8th anniversary plates were good. So I went for the botch plate for Naomi and the silence plate for, yet again, Bailey. So now we're really in business. And then I was looking around and I said, oh, we got a talent up right now? I've already maxed it? Well, I really want to take this Jinder up. So it was top lane Jinder time at that moment. And let me tell you, Jinder is out in these streets dropping 98 million. 98 million, I tell you, people. With perks, or if you have a top lane and feud, it can happen for you. But you need both plates. You need the Jinder plate, formerly known as Timeless Styles, but we're going to call it the Jinder plate. You need the 8th anniversary moment, and you need at least 3 MP boosts to start. Got all of those things, and nothing but joy with Jinder when you get out in these streets. If you don't believe me, Cesaro just dropped a video too, because the top lane Jinder movement is upon us.
So for those of you that are aware, that are listening in the comfort of your own home there, I told Envy that he would definitely be allowed to cut a promo on his Jinder gameplay here. I don't have any video to share with you, unfortunately, right now. But I will be going through the podcast live chat. So you're gonna see my screen that I have right now is gonna stop moving, because I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to save the photo that I have of Envy's Jinder, and share it with all of you on the playback here. Because it's I thought he was just BSing. I have always thought that he's just BSing, especially about his wonderful Jinder. But yeah, no, I mean, here we'll highlight the damage numbers. We don't have to worry about the board, so to speak. But there you go. There's Envy's top Jinder line. Back at it again. So yeah.
I don't know. I think Envy's passion has me converted. I think I'm gonna go take my Jinder 6-star now.
Please do not.
Do it. You could be on board too, just like Evo did. You could be the third of us to have a 6-star gold Jinder. And let me tell you, if I had top lane this feud, y'all people would be in peril.
Oh
So
God.
just know, when next time I get top lane, Jinder's out in these streets.
So yeah. For the listeners at home, there you have it. I don't really know what to say apart from that, but there you have it. Jinder's out in these streets, as Envy so poignantly has mentioned. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna hit 100 mil one of these days soon. For when that happens, I have no clue. But it'll happen.
That's Jinder in the steel cage in the feud. It might be 200. So y'all better watch out.
Yeah, I'm just at a loss. I'm just at a loss for this whole thing. So I asked Envy. I asked him about this a little while ago. Where did this whole Jinder diehard mentality, Jinder or nothing mentality show up from? Is what I kind of need to know here.
Well, back in the day, we used to get the beta test when we used to move up from when 3-star gold was the max and they wanted to go to 4-star. When 4-star gold was max, you want to go to 5-star. They send you out and they pick you to test out these players and give feedback on them. So I was lucky enough to get blessed with being able to use Jinder, and oh boy, was that card fun when I used them. And from that day forth, I was trying to tell all the content creators, hey, do a video on Jinder, do a video on Jinder. And eventually that just became the gimmick. And then I said, you know what? I can't be telling y'all to do a video on Jinder, and I'm not willing to take my Jinder up all the way myself. So I was the first one, I believe, out here to take him to 6-star when 6-star came out. And he kind of set a 6-star bronze for a while, but he used to be in boss battle. Bob remembers. I used to have Jinder out here in these boss battle streets putting out work, and that's why they don't allow you to use trap gems in boss battle back in the day, because Jinder was leaving out too much damage. But now they've allowed Jinder back in these streets. So Jinder can be back in boss battle, but I hadn't took him up to gold. So I needed a reason. I needed a sign that it was going to be good, and I finally got that sign. And it was the 8th anniversary plate. And I took him to gold, and I haven't looked back since. Do you know how many hours I've spent using Jinder this weekend? Just on my own personal time, just beating Scott Steiner down constantly, giving CM Punk that work. We're going everywhere with this Jinder, trying to see what it is out in these streets. And it's all for you guys.
God. I think my favorite thing, by the way, about this this photo that you posted with the 98 mil, is right next to your time, right next to your clock, you have no notifications allowed and you're on silent because you're just that locked in with using Jinder.
Oh yeah, we're all the way tapped in.
I knew this was gonna happen at some point today, and so I baked in a little extra time for Envy to pop off about Jinder. So hopefully everybody enjoyed that side of Envy. Yeah, I've had Envy on this podcast for as long as I can remember. I don't think I've ever heard him as passionate about anything that we've talked about on the podcast ever as much as he was right there for the past like 5 minutes talking about Jinder.
Top notch.
Oh god. Alright, well god. I don't even know how to continue from that. Let's just move on. Let's just move on. We are gonna move on. We talked a bit about our zombies event. Lots of good stuff again that obviously happened with zombie event. And let's talk about Showdown. And there's a lot to talk about Showdown. So first up, we have the Straight Edge Showdown, which is that is CM Punk's Showdown, his introductory event. So it was kind of weird because no one really knew what was happening. No one really knew that there was going to be a Punk. And then not only did Punk come out, but a gear came out for Punk, and skill plate came out for Punk, which is a really good skill plate for a lot of other characters as well. And then of course, yet again, like the darkness in the night, it comes back. Steel cage rules, no entourage, no skill plates. It maybe it was just me, but it felt like another Showdown weekend where it was like, here you go, new character, character that you want to chase, but you can only hit him in the loot as a full character, and you can't get any shard progress for him. New skill plate, if you get it, good. If you don't, too bad, so sad. And the gear, well, you can get the gear out of the loot also if you get lucky and pull the whole new character. But if you don't, oh well, too bad, so sad. And that's kind of what this one felt like. Again, maybe it's just me, but I didn't really feel too strongly about the Punk Showdown event. Curious what all of you have to say about it. It could be anything, right? It can be Punk himself. It could be the gauntlets. It could be the gear. It could be the event structure. It could be all that type of stuff. So let me know what you're thinking about the event, about the Showdown.
I don't know. It was kind of all a blur to me.
That's your wonderful feedback, Shell. You don't know.
That's my wonderful. It was just all a blur. I'm just so over the steel cage rules and dumbness of it all.
Well, I was there for it, and the event was kind of hard to progress in because the Showdown, they didn't really give a full understanding of what the Showdown was when you first start up with it. So they had all the changes to the Showdown, where you can find your points at, how you get your points, how many points you get per match, whatever league you're in. And if you're not really looking through all the rules, you don't know what you're doing, you're just doing stuff. So I started off just doing stuff and thinking it would all work out in the end. So I'm just out there and I'm playing and I'm selecting my opponent, I'm looking at the moves they got, and it's like, oh, he ain't even running them right. Let me just run out here and face him. Oh, wait a minute, they are running them right. I thought they told me I could see what the people are moving. Oh, it's just the people in the top 100? We don't get to see the person I'm facing moveset? Oh, is this how this game's supposed to work? And so it took that getting used to, then trying to figure out, so the straps don't work, but the straps do work. The plates don't work, but the straps do work. And just because it says 100, that doesn't mean the 100 was from the strap. The 100 could have been because they got these new Tier 6 medals. And guess what? If you hit somebody with those Tier 6 medals, it could be a problem because you're not hitting like you're supposed to be hitting. So then you take L's that way. And it was a lot of frustration and issues and losses that I don't like to take that happened this weekend. And clearly I didn't match the Showdown event. I came up far, far shorter than I wanted to. So I didn't get the moment that I probably wouldn't have got anyway, but at least I had a better shot had I maxed it with more chances. So it was a lot of stuff out there, but it wasn't fun. It was productive enough to get me the prize wall I needed to get the Jinder magic going. But other than that, that was not a happy time. Not a happy time.
Oh, you're referring to the midweek zombies showdown.
Oh, what showdown were we talking about?
We were talking about the Punk Weekend Showdown.
Oh, that was different. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That goes to show how much showdown we've been having.
Exactly. That's why it's all a blur.
Oh, that I confirmed with Shell. It's all a blur. I don't know.
This podcast is off the rails, and I love it.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of taking my Jinder 6 gold.
Let's get it.
Yeah, so for those of you watching on the YouTube playback, that's going to be enough Jinder on our screen here, so there he goes. But yeah, so the Punk Showdown, right? The Punk Showdown, for clearly those of you that don't remember what happened last week, the Punk Showdown was the straight edge showdown, where the top 3 notoriety fighters, winners, players, whatever you want to call them, walked away with Punk. That was where there was no trainers, no coaches, no skill plates. It was the male showdown where you had to have a powerhouse as your defense. You had to break red gems, row break gems, and then do damage with a bunch of characters. So like Uncle Howdy, Solo Sokoa, Wyatt Six, Zombies, Nation of Domination, a bunch of acrobat damage. It kind of definitely could have been viewed as a blur too, because LA Knight Zombie was also a CSS point there. But yeah, I mean, the faction one was breaking X breaks, blue gems, and leech gems. It was a lot of showdown, and that's kind of my point actually, more than anything else. These weekend showdowns are really starting to feel entirely unnecessary. It's just like you guys are saying, it's a blur. To me, it's not even so much that it's just a blur as much as it's like, what happened? What do I even care about this weekend? Like, did I get anything out of this weekend other than, just playing the game and kind of rolling on into the next event, the next week, the next whatever shows up for the game? It's not a rewarding experience. You do whatever you can to get whatever you can off of the prize wall, which like the showdown prize walls are typically very mediocre. This one did have Howdy shards on it, so maybe you got Howdy shards from it. I think this is where, Shell, you might have recruited Howdy. There was the Punk Gauntlets, which is the whenever you make 6 or more color turned. It's the color turned version of the Yeet Plate. That's pretty much all there was here. Yeah, look, like for me, it wasn't much. I had no reason to spend because I didn't have any illusions that I was going to be picking up Punk with his gear out of the loot. Like, that just wasn't happening. And what I did instead was I spent all that money the following week on Zombies event. But no, I mean, look, I did what I needed to get the Punk Gauntlets, the color turn gauntlets, whatever you want to call them. And that was kind of it. It was, as has been coined already, a blur, so to speak. BeeRock, curious if you're around, what was your thoughts on our blur of a showdown for CM Punk introductory weekend?
So the punk one, I actually did really well. I actually enjoyed it. It was not. It was just roll right through it. Um, I got. I think it was two things of Howdy Shars, which is what I was looking for. Um, so
Did you get
when
Howdy?
it's all said, nope, still don't have Howdy. I'm just short of him right now.
Okay.
Um, but it's that one was not too bad. That one was, fall in line with a regular showdown with the steel cage requirements. That one I could deal with.
Okay.
The next one, when we get to it, we'll talk about that.
Sure. You know what? Let's hop right on into that then. So more showdown galore, as Envy has so poignantly pointed out. There was the midweek showdown for zombies, which there's just a bunch to talk about there. So there's the new showdown changes that they had, that they added to the game. The entire UI is entirely different. I think there were still comments about it today in Town Hall, about the UI from the midweek showdown. Um, just a insane amount of people that are talking about it, an insane amount of feedback about it, and not good. To put it very kindly, I'm not going to go into grandiose detail about it, but just not good. Um, I will let everyone here talk about what their struggles were with the showdown or the new UI, the new format. But yes, the new showdown changes are live, and that is piled on top of the showdown itself, which was already a tough showdown. The showdown itself, there were no skill plates allowed, there were no trainers allowed, there were no coaches allowed. So that was one thing for the showdown. And then outside of that, you also had crazy CSS, such as breaking 300 of a gem type. 300 blast gems, botch gems, leech gems, silence gems, multi gems, X breaks. Like, there was a bunch of gems that you needed to break, and it wasn't like, okay, break 50 of them or break 100 of them. Break 300 of these with no trainers, no coaches, no skill plates. It's like, okay, now you're kind of stretching it, and you have to only use a zombie. Like, all right, now this is tough because no zombies that are males, which was slot number one, have a hot tag move that you could tag out to a female. And so the showdown as a whole was already very difficult for a lot of players out there. They then piled on top of it this wonderful new UI experience. So yeah. Let's go back to BeeRock, since he was saying once we get to the showdown, let's put the ball in BeeRock's court. BeeRock, what were your thoughts on our
Well,
very first iteration of the brand new UI format, super lockdown zombie showdown?
so for this, I'm a I'm gonna take the ball. I'm gonna hit it like Josh Giddey did on the Lakers the other night
That was
from
so
half court, because
dirty.
this is what we're gonna do. Usos was the cheat code. It was a beautiful thing. I ran through the showdown like a hot knife through butter. It was beautiful. I got no points for the other crap other than the multi gems. I didn't want to do any of the other stuff because simple fact that you were so restricted to zombies. I looked at it and I was like, all right, well, guess what? I'm not even gonna worry about it. And I just went straight Usos. I my perception is Scopely knows when they do something stupid, because then all of a sudden we get, hey, here's 16 more energy because we know that you can't compete and do any of this stuff without our help. So here you go. Here's 16 more energy for you to get close to where you're supposed to be. The new layout, we'll say, is lacking. On that first screen, you can't see what your notoriety is. You have to click on the match to see what your notoriety is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is not the most player-friendly way to do it. I know it seems like it's been negative BeeRock today, and I'm trying to not be so bad and so negative.
You're trying to be the people's
But
champion, not the BeeRock champion.
whoever did this, is living in their mama's basement, saying, hey, let's put this together and let's make them work harder for this, and so forth and so on. And I don't think they understood exactly what we need, because you can't see what that person's got. Again, Usos killing it. At the very end, I started running into people who had Immortal Hogan and then 6-star armor plates on them. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And that was that part of not being able to coordinate your lineup against certain people is really going to be difficult in the future, especially with 6-star medals.
Yeah,
And who has 4 armor 6-star medals? Who?
Yeah, Shell. Who has 4 armor 6-star medals?
God, why you gotta pull me into this?
I'm just asking. That's all. You're in the podcast, you know. I see that you've
I do.
added some photos to the live chat over here. But
I told you I took Jinder 6-star.
yeah,
Top line Jinder movement.
I don't want to see that at all.
But I do. I have a full set of all the new medals.
Yeah, you remember when you said Evo used to be your hero, BeeRock? Now it's Shell.
Yeah, that's why my name is Kitsu Evo. It's an honor
Kitsu
to my friend Evo.
I'm just gonna say this: I still don't have one set.
I have. All right, I'm not gonna say anything.
Exactly. And mind you, I have hold on. I'm luckily I'm feuding right now, and my partner's taking forever. So I'm looking here real quick. This got superstars. Boom. All right. Entourage. Oh, nope. Strap. There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I have 27 6-star, tier 6 medals, and not a single one.
I apologize to the YouTube crowd. I know that this is not the most enthralling thing, but BeeRock learning to count is a very impressive thing for me to listen to.
You know what? See, this is Corporate Bob again, rearing his head here.
That was great. Shell, talk to me about the news. Talk to me about the
I'm just gonna say, if I have 27 before Shell goes, if if we look back, the average people who are trying to excel in something where you can grind it out, because Showdown is a grind, they run into you penthouse folks, it's a wrap.
I feel like you have your pinky in your mouth when you say that. You penthouse folks.
All right, you deserve this now. So I have 2 full sets of armor 2, 2 full sets of takedown 3, 2 full sets of fury 3. So
Yeah. Shell's the one that's been
No
taking all
ice
the
cream
medals.
for you, Show.
no, no ice
Shell's
cream.
the one that's been taking all the medals. All right, we're not talking about medals. Talk to me about Showdown.
Okay, so this Showdown was not a blur for me. This Showdown was annoying. All right, the UI was annoying. It was weird. It was confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then the whole little section, like where you have to go in and manually click a button to get your points to go towards your solo points, was weird. That they put it on that screen instead of the contest screens. Other than that, the CSS, obviously, I have a whale account, especially we mentioned earlier that I have all the zombies, and I don't have a zombie that's under 6 bronze. Yeah. So, the tasks were fairly, easy. I was able to go through and max it and get the points and things that I wanted from that event. But I definitely heard stories and listened to people who were very upset about this. I think the Showdown revamp overall, while it was a little confusing and it was a little annoying, I didn't hate it as much as other people have. But that being said, I'm not a Showdown person. I don't like Showdown. I go in and I do what I got to do, and then I'm done with it. So I think that maybe that perspective is a little different than people who actually used to enjoy Showdown.
Mm.
So
Fair enough. Envy? I know you dropped your passionate speech earlier. Anything else to add to that?
Oh yeah, I still got more.
Go for it.
so the reason I didn't know what was going on was because when I just got Zombie CM Punk, so I didn't know how good he was. I didn't really know how to use him right, and also I don't have the plates were taken out, so my chemical whatever that is plate wasn't working. So when I go out there to hit somebody and I'm only hitting for 10 million, I thought he was broken. I had to switch up my finish. I was like, I'm doing my finisher wrong. What is going on here? And then I watched Shell run out with her squad, and I'm like, oh, these medals are real out here. And I guess everybody up at the top has them, but you can't tell because I was checking the people. I said, oh, they only got the strap on, they don't got the medals on, because they don't sell 100, they don't got the 200s. And no, they just had the medals on. I was wrong, and I lost because of that. And then I didn't know about all these other things that people have that I don't have, and it was brutal. And then when you can't scroll away from these people, so I have to jump out the screen, come back in, jump out the screen, come back in. I can't check them easily. They don't have the UI where they show you everything they got on the screen like they told us they was gonna do. I was going in blind as ever, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, I left behind my own feedback. Right, we had our call with the developers recently, and there was a lot of talks about the Showdown, and like I said, there's an insane amount of people that are leaving feedback in Town Hall about just about everything with this Showdown. To piggyback on what Envy brought up earlier about you don't get to see the ranks of what people are using outside the top 100, you literally don't get to see your own rank. Like, on the screen when you go to enter Showdown, like on the surface where the limited time tours are and all that stuff, it shows you like the little graphic and it just says unranked, which is absolutely false, right? Like, you obviously have a rank, But if you're not top 100, that rank just doesn't show. It just tells you that you're unranked. So you can be ranked 200 or 500 or whatever. You don't know until you go into the showdown and start looking at the leaderboards for what your own specific rank is. So that's gone. You can't swap between your 3 opponents anymore. So once you click one opponent, that's it. You're locked in on that opponent, and you have to back out to go and check out the other 2 opponents. That seems silly, I'm sure, to a lot of people as an argument point. For me, because of all the new UI changes, I need to click into each opponent, and now I need to go into like the deep dive of clicking on the tiny little freaking arrow so that I can look and see what moves they might have equipped, or what skill plates, or what trainers or coaches or all this other stuff. It's literally like I have to pull out a magnifying glass and try and find the little buttons that I have to click to actually read what stuff my opponent has now, because all of that information that used to be on the surface is no longer on the surface. It's just gone. And so I don't even know if my opponent has a strap equipped anymore or not. Forget if there's a bonus on it or medals on it or any of this stuff. I can't tell if they have a strap equipped. That is ridiculous to me. That should be the most basic thing. And I'm going to stop feuding in the background for those of you watching on YouTube at home. If I were to go and fight someone here on this page, this shows Bam Bam and Sheamus, 6 silver, 6 gold and 6 silver. I don't get to see if they have a strap equipped. It's not here. It doesn't exist. I have to literally deep dive on this tiny little arrow here, and it's like, oh, here's what it looks like. It looks like he's got a promoter here. What do I care about him having a promoter or not? I don't get to see the trainers and coaches that he has. I don't get to see anything unless I go into the whole subsection that we wanted to avoid going into before, and then I have to go and read the bonuses. Then I could see his trainers and coaches, and then I have to scroll all the way down to see, oh, there's an extra turn strap, so it means that he has a strap, and then it shows one set of Fury 2 medals, but there's clearly a gem defense, gem damage, and move defense medal. So there's only one set here of medal bonuses, but he's got 4 medals equipped. So it's not even accurate. That's been a glitch in the game since they came out with Fury 2 medals. And then on top of all of that, the moves that are displayed, which is my number one issue, the moves that they're showing your opponent are using are wrong. They all default to level 1 moves, and it's the very first 3 moves that a character has at 1 star. At 1 star, a character has 3 moves. It's your starting 3 colors. So for Bam Bam, it's black, red, and blue. Those are the black, red, and blue moves that you see on your screen right now. I can guarantee you, if I go into this showdown match, he's not going to have black, red, and blue equipped. And that, for me, in the zombie showdown, where a lot of the new era zombies from this past October 2024 zombie MLC, they have submission reversals. A lot of the zombies that wanted to get CSS tasks done for 300 gems of a certain type, they typically use a submission to drain their opponent's MP so they can keep recycling to blow up the board for whatever gem type they're looking for. That is a killer when you're going to go and use someone with a sub and it tells you, hey, by the way, this person doesn't have any of these moves equipped. And then you go in and you fight them and you're like, oh, well, not only do they have those moves equipped, because reversal is a thing now, you have screwed me on my progress on my own showdown. I have never, probably apart from back when I was in 3-star days and didn't understand how the game worked, I have never lost so many showdown matches, or versus matches is what they used to be called, consecutively in my life of playing this game, just because of a UI screw up that can very easily be fixed. This whole experience of this new Showdown, new look, new fancy, blah, 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 it's the biggest pain compared to anything else in recent memory. This is a true headache. And also, for those of you that are watching at home too on YouTube, notice that my Darren Young is here. I wanted to see something. So, that's a 3-star silver Darren Young. That's not a 6-star silver. That's a 3-star. But they gave every rarity the same exact graphic. So now they all have the big star, but with just a super tiny number inside of it. And so you can't even tell what rarity your opponent is without getting up close to whatever screen that you're on, which is insane. And then they decided this wonderful thing of implementing a debuff or a penalization or whatever you want to call it. If your team talent, if there's a gap between your characters of 30% or greater, your whole team gets penalized. And it's not like, oh, well, you lose 5%. You lose 50% of everything. Of your health, of your gem damage, of your move damage, of everything. I don't know why these were the changes they decided to make in Showdown. And I get it that this is definitely feeling like it's a test month where they're testing out a bunch of stuff. But the way that they decided to do this, especially with the type of Showdown they decided to do it with, really, really horrible experience for the players. Like, really, really horrible experience for the players. And Showdown was not privy to escaping that. Showdown suffered probably the worst. And that's coming from me, and like, I was never the biggest Showdown fan, and I know there's plenty of people who were, and it's like, I love Showdown, this is the best game mode, and that was never a me thing. But just looking at it now, man, you couldn't pay me to care about Showdown. Sincerely. It is that bad from these changes. It is just not good. I got what I could get done on the zombie Showdown. Obviously with the extra energy, which I think, and I'm not going to take credit for this, right? But I'm hopeful that me complaining about how I lost 4 of my 8 starting energy because of their screw up by telling me, yeah, these characters are using these 3 moves, and it turns out that they're not using those 3 moves. I'm hopeful that played a part in it. I know that there was a few other content creators, moderators, whatever you'd like to call them, people behind closed doors, that were talking about that there's a learning curve for the game, and that when you introduce something new like this and you implement something new like this, that there's got to be a little bit of leeway for the players to kind of get caught up. And in that statement and argument, whatever you want to talk about it, I was quoted. And they're like, Bob, I don't think that you've ever lost that many Showdown matches in a row, right? And it's like, no, never. So I'm hopeful that my experience kind of helped show them that this can impact everybody, right? That it's not just like, oh, this is something that the low end of the game is complaining about, and everyone at the top is going to figure it out. Like, no, I'm really hopeful that they kind of learned that's not the case, and that's not the instance. So I don't know, man. This was just this is a tough Showdown. This is a tough Showdown, and these changes, I'm very hopeful that they're going to be making adjustments to it in the very, very, very near future. That's definitely what I can say for that. Anybody else that wants to pop off about Showdown? Because this is your time to shine if you do. All right. No more Showdown pop-offs. That is fine with me. Envy has already popped off about Jinder, but knowing him, there's always more to talk about with him there. I saw Shell had her photo of her 6-star gold Jinder. Also, gotta love that. But all right, let's go ahead and get to the finale point of the podcast. It is the world's best Flash Feuds. That is right. So we are finally, we are here at the world's best Flash Feuds. And is it the best? No. it's not. But I mean, I'm kind of digging it. We finally got Steel Cage this month without a lockdown. So all the feud bonuses is what it is via the Steel Cage. There's no lockdowns. There's no preventative of trainers or coaches or skill plates or gears. Everything is allowed, and then every feud has its own set of boosts. So feud 1 is purple and blue gem and multi-gem and bleed. This one is red gem and green gem and multi-gem and bleed. And the third one is blue and green and reinforce and protect. And the fourth is red, yellow, purple, and column break. So there's a lot of different bonuses that we're getting this weekend. But the idea is nothing is locked out. So I'm looking forward to that. It is again CM Punk weekend. There are shards available, however, for him in the loot this time around compared to where they were not available in the loot last weekend for the Showdown. His gear is back. There's also some live shards and some dom shards. Lots of goodies on the prize wall, including the first sighting of some hip hop hustler shards, more Nia Jax shards, and then the gears on the wall. The Yeet Uso gear is there. The red pants Jacob Fatu gear is there. There's also a gold gear for Hall of Fame Ron Simmons. There's a good chunk of stuff going on this weekend. So as we close out our podcast here with our finale point, who wants to kick it off with some thoughts on Flash Feuds? Because I have been talking for a long time.
As I've been going through this Flash Feud, I noticed I wasn't really progressing like I wanted to try to max out and hit the 300 million. And then I looked at the prize and I said, what's up there in the 300 million mark? And it looked like it was back to the old trash that I didn't want. So did the prizes change or the milestones change? Because I felt like they were better. Or is it just the regular feud that had the great milestone and the Flash Feuds always had the little shard bags and the strap?
The Flash Feud always had the little shard bags, but it had, I think it was 4 straps that were a range of 40 to 150, and now it's a guaranteed 150 at the 300 mil, and it's a guaranteed 100% defense at the 250 mil.
Oh, well, then I definitely went that 250 mil. So I'm on pace. I'm on
Good.
pace. I feel good. I feel better now. I feel way better now.
Good.
But what I don't feel good about is that I don't have the people for top lane in the men's feud. So I couldn't break out top lane Jinder as I wanted to because only Shell will get to have that fun this weekend. And I'm happy to see that she made the jump and converted to top lane Jinder because he's all the fun. All the fun.
To be fair, I am easily influenced.
Well, Shell, let's easily influence some feedback out of you. What's your thoughts on these Flash Feuds?
So far, so good. I work through 3 of them at this point. I'll work through the back half of this one and the beginning of tonight's. But last night's wasn't too bad. I didn't have a top line. Sad, no Punk. But I got in, I did my thing. I hit 100 million before I went to bed. And I figured, I should be able to easily do some more in these next few feuds. I'm looking forward to the women's. So I have almost every woman in the game. Gotta Gotta get her a 65 short of live. I'll get her at some point.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about every woman in the game. There's
Yeah,
one
that's your own fault.
One that still avoids me. Excuse me, my own fault. The
It's
hell's
your
wrong
fault.
with you?
Because you got the currency, go get her. I did.
I absolutely have the currency on the club.
But you won't go get her.
Why?
I went and I got her. And I have zero regrets. She's actually quite good.
Yeah,
We
I
were
know
talking
she's
about-
great.
We were actually talking about Striker Nia Jax, by the way.
Yeah, Queen of the Ring Nia is, I'm sure as many of you know, the one female character I don't have.
And she was worth the prize. She was worth the currency.
She's
To
just
me.
not going to
To
be
me.
she's not going to be a CSS anymore is what I'm going to tell myself. All right? That's all.
Exactly. She's not a CSS for the flash feeds.
Exactly. So there's no need to get her anymore. Perfect. Yeah, the amount of money I have spent chasing her is insane.
Fair enough. I understand that point. That's why I did not take Howdy off the prize wall. Because, I was very close. Well, I was close to him and I had spent some money chasing him. I was like, I'm not going to get him off this wall. I'm going to wait until I shard recruit him.
I think at this point, I probably should just get her off of the wall to save me from spending more money to trying to get her. That's kind of the same reason I did the club for OTC. It was just like, I don't want to keep being caught in this, this pit of spending to get him when I could just say, you know what, screw it, I got him. And my whole thing is like, I'm waiting for Hip Hop Hustler Cena to hit, so that I can just pick him up off the wall, because I don't really want to have to go through that whole route. Those characters that are like $3,000, it's just insane to me. I will not go out of my way to spend that type of money for them. I definitely spent for Punk this weekend. I think a lot of people know that I spent for Punk this weekend. And that's because he's gettable and doable without needing to drop $3,000. But the two characters, outside of Snoop, I should say, Acro Snoop, I'm still missing because he was a spender too. But the two characters that I'm missing outside of Punk this weekend are Hip Hop Hustler and Queen of the Ring. And I'm kind of just leaning towards saying screw it. And those types of characters, whether they're good or not, I think that's just what I'm saving up my club currency for. Right now, this weekend, there's no need for Nia. She's obviously been a CSS for practically everything this month because, women's history. But if they don't make her a CSS moving forward, I will just probably continue to play it out slowly with all of these prize walls. Otherwise, I will probably cave if she becomes a regular CSS again, and just take her off of the club, just to say that chapter's done. BeeRock, your thoughts? Flash Feuds, finale point. Talk to me, brother.
So,
Clearing
currently,
the throat out for this one. You got some feedback, don't you?
No. So currently, I enjoy Feud more. I think that's my favorite game mode. I will say, Scopely making the changes to not make it so restrictive with the steel cage rules was a win. I feuded last night. I'm at like 200 mil right now. Because I have to get most of my stuff done on Fridays. So that was a big win. The drawback, I'm just gonna say a little bit, and wait, I'm gonna give them more kudos. The CSS, they aren't too bad. The contest superstars for extra stuff, not bad. Most of them are obtainable. So that's a good one. I'm a little confused at I know the Flash feud is supposed to be just basically you get to test out your roster. You get to test your roster out against other folks.
Yep.
And the fact now that you can manipulate feud based on RNG, and this is no shade to my girl Shell, but Shell can put a whole lineup with defensive 6-tier medals. He's not going to lose.
No, not at all.
We talked about characters being OP. 6-tier medals are OP.
Yeah.
And that's making some of, like, I don't lose feud matches, and I've lost I think 4 or 5 so far. I've lost 4 or 5 matches, and that's never happens. Yeah, unless I have to use like somebody like Super Stacy when when it's
Sure, for
you gotta
CSS.
use
Sure.
yeah. But outside of that, like a regular feud, I don't lose. I don't ever lose. I have 4 or 5 right now that it's like, wow. And I'm not calling people out, but these people who are putting 6-star tiers on Hall of Famers where you can't use the gem buff,
Oh, yeah.
there's something wrong with you. There's something like your mother didn't hug you enough. There's something wrong with you. There's something that's inherently wrong with your DNA and your makeup, because that's a psychotic move. But I realize now that people are out there, and I have to check more now than I ever have before.
Absolutely.
If I take out Rex Riggum, that's 3 clicks. It's over. Nope,
No,
not anymore.
Not anymore. Not even close.
Not anymore. You hit that move, you hit everything, and then you deal 1.5 million damage. You're like, oh damn. And now you're in a fight. And now instead of it being a lot quicker and efficient, now you got to dig in. So that's going to take a little bit of getting used to. But I think right now this feud is the first feud that I've experienced this many people with the 6 tier medals.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people out there. The month has continued on. A lot of people been hitting that armory loot. And so it kind of is providing for people to get more and more medal sets, so to speak. I looked at I remember I said I had 1 takedown set, right? Out of all the stuff that I hit. I spent on them the first time they were around, even dropped IGC for them. I'm in TNM. We get really solid rewards. I am a spender for sure. I dumped 150,000 armory coins, which is 150 pulls on the titles loot. Had a bunch, right? I have 1 medal set for Takedown 3. That 1 medal set for Takedown 3 has 136 armor on it. And then on top of that, has 260% move defense. So, a takedown set, which is meant for move damage, has more armor on it than what an entire armor set, but like a regular armor 1 set, with a 60% strap. I have more armor on my takedown 3 set than a 60% strap and full armor 1 set has. It is insane. And the point that I'm making with the move defense, it's not like I have only regular gem defense and crazy substats on that. the majority of the medals all have that move defense too. My move defense is almost 260%. It is insane. It is legitimately insane numbers. So look, I don't know the way around it. That's the nicest thing to say right now is I don't know the way around these new medals because the gem damage, the fury, is not enough. The damage that they gave us compared to the defense that they gave us is nowhere near enough. So look, I'm hopeful that something comes out of this whole situation. But yeah, these medals are, I'm not gonna say sickening, but it's pretty damn close to it. But yeah, I mean, anyone else's thoughts on Feud? It can be anything, obviously. Otherwise, we'll be closing up the podcast.
Well, if the medals weren't sickening enough, on top of that, there's all these moments that give you 50% gem defense. So, they want you to, if you don't have the hitter of all hitters, they want to make these matches a little bit longer for y'all.
Absolutely. That is without a shadow of a doubt. That's, I mean, I think that's practically every single new moment that they've come out with has 50% defense on it, which is insane. That everyone's becoming super armored. But yeah, I mean, Feud's becoming an interesting gameplay for a lot of folks. As I'm sure plenty of you are watching on YouTube right now and still listening. If you've made it this far, thank you and congratulations. But you just watched me get countered on Julius because I forgot that Hall of Famers have the anti-gem damage boost, and Julius has a gem damage boost.
Yep.
Look, it's a lot, and again, part of the UI, which kind of annoys me, it's like the UI could be updated and be such a better player experience for so many people. And they went out of their way to update the UI on the Showdown. It's pretty universally hated and despised and disliked. And just right there, me playing the game and hosting a podcast, I can't remember every single character with every single defensive maneuver. It's a prime example of what an updated UI could actually help with. Instead of needing to go in and be like, oh yeah, Goldberg, Hall of Famer, he has an anti-gem damage boost. Julius, he has a combo move that has a gem damage boost. Like, there needs to be something. We talked about this weeks ago, if not months ago. BeeRock said it, I said it, for Boss Battle. That, you know, there needs to be something kind of like what we talked about before, that there's a pop-up before you go into the fight. Hey, you know, your talent disparity is too large. Like, you're trying to fight someone that has 20,000 talent and you're only 3K talent. Like, things like that. There needs to be something that is a better interface for the players. And right now there just isn't. There just isn't. And that's tough. But nevertheless, I think that's it for our podcast. So, any parting words from our table today?
So, Bob, I'm gonna pivot here for a hot second on the podcast because I think there's something that we forgot to address.
Okay.
And the thing that we forgot to address is the last boss battle that we all got to participate in was next level trash.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the female zombie Bailey boss battle. That was
we did not.
That was part of our zombie talks, and nobody talked about it.
And you know what? I was kind of stuck on the fact that a lot of the stuff with the zombies that I didn't get to participate. But I would like to bring up to you and everybody else. And if there's a person at Scopely who's listening to this by chance, and they are saying, hey, what is it that we can do to, yes, I get the fact that you have to make boss battle harder for certain factions. Absolutely. 1000% understand that. At the same time, if you notice this boss battle, you had entire factions quitting boss battle. You had entire factions saying, I'm not doing this crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
My faction, I'm just gonna say my faction, we normally finish in a range around the 30s, higher 30s, well lower 30s, excuse me.
Sure.
So we're normally around 33, 34, somewhere in that vicinity. We were at 23. We were going through and we could literally see factions just stop.
Yeah.
Can we find a happy medium? I understand, like I said before, you gotta go ahead and this is a business, and I'm not saying any person's name, but we all know there's a guy out there who spends about 10 grand a week. We all know who he is. We know that I think he has just about every character, and there's a couple people like that. And they're all in relatively the same level of factions. But then you got to remember that's the one, or I think you used to call them the 1%ers.
The 1% of the 1%.
The 1% of the 1%, exactly.
Yep.
You can't make the game about them.
No.
Yes, I know they spend more than everybody else. I get it. But there was a person who was in the chat who was like, about time that we made this more difficult. And I'm like, more difficult? And I love Ocho. When he said that, I'm like, how much more difficult do you need this to be?
Yeah.
I took up Natalia 6-star gold for that boss battle.
That's horrendous. I don't even have any other words to use besides that. That's horrible.
But she was the only person in that category that I had that I could. I'm not one of these people who gets carried very often.
Right.
So I always have to bring something to the table in order to
You gotta
help
contribute.
out. And
you gotta contribute.
I was running Natalia.
Wow.
And she was killing it for a while.
Jeez.
But I just think that we gotta kind of, I know that there's mods and all that, and I believe all the mods are in that top echelon. I am not applying to be a mod, so please don't think I am. I'm just saying, hey, get the little engine that could. Can we bring that up a little bit to where you can get another viewpoint when it comes to setting certain things? That's all.
Yeah, but Boss was. I guess I just looked over it because for me, Boss was such a pain point. I did not like it at all. And like, yeah, obviously, I know that I'm in the faction that I'm in, and we performed and we got our placement like we typically do. But
You all maxed it. You
that
maxed it.
that's the whole thing to me too. Is like, I've been told so many times well, you got the rewards, right? Well, you maxed it, right? So then you don't have a right to complain about it. And it's like, isn't that the exact opposite of the truth? If I maxed it, which means I went through the ringer, I had to go through hell and high water and back. And I know the experience of what it's like. And I'm still telling you that as a podium faction, as a member, or whatever you want to call it, of that faction, whatever you want to call me, right? If I'm telling you this was a bad experience, that's got to hold a little bit of, you know, value to it. Not, oh, well, you got it and you got your rewards, so why are you complaining? And it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. That's like telling me that someone who goes mountain climbing, who finally makes it to the top of the mountain, has no reason to complain about the journey. Yeah, they do. It hurts. It's tough. You like, it's an experience. You don't get to just be like, oh, you know, I don't have to complain about the journey because I finally hit the top of the mountain. There's other people that have hit the top of the mountain too, but it doesn't mean that you don't get to complain about the entire process of how to get up there. It wasn't the best. It could have been better, right? Like, that's what's insane to me, personally. But yeah, that boss was something fierce. There was no real tippy top, you know, hitters. There was maybe a couple, and I remember looking into it, like Naomi was doing good damage, and Asuka, I think, was doing good damage. But that was it. That was essentially it.
Zombie Chelsea, if you had everything.
Right. So it was tough. It was really, really, really tough. To put it kindly. I was not a fan. I was not a fan at all. And yeah, I guess before we wrap up, any thoughts on Boss Battle, Shell or Envy?
I yet again couldn't tell what my people were hitting for. So, I mean, we did it. We got it done. At least I got my part done. So, I got my 400. So it was a slight struggle, but it's more so not knowing how much I'm hitting for. I'm bringing people in. I don't know if I'm just the boss breaker person or if I'm doing the damage that needs to be done to get us closer. I don't know where I'm contributing, but I'm contributing somehow, and we're gonna get through this. That's always my motivation.
For me, boss battle is still my favorite mode. I like the race. I like the chase. I like the fact that it forces you to work together. I like that. I had a carry card. I carried a bit. I helped out where I could. Um, I enjoyed. I'm one of the few that enjoy the midweek one because Wednesdays are my day off, so I have the time to dedicate and do what I got to do. You know, I have a hero complex. I like to be there and I like to save the day, whatever.
Sure.
This time was a little different. Like, you know, after we got everything through and the CSS started, I just rode a faction mate all the way through, and I ended up, like, you know, topping the faction leaderboard for points, running through with my Z Bailey.
Yeah,
Shout
for
out to Vid-
CSS. Yeah.
Shout out to Viddy from TNM.
Yeah, for CSS purposes or whatever to me, but the boss itself was that was tough.
It was not easy. Yeah, it was tough.
I remember I was dealing with doctor stuff, and I kind of like figured out what was going on with Molly, and I figured there was like a certain way you had to set her up because I had this weird run. I had 3 boss battles that I tried to carry with her. One, she did 200 million health. Another one she did 600 million health, and then the third she did 1.5 billion health. And I was like, why is there such a disparity? This makes no sense. That's 7x from 200 mil to 1.5 bill. Like, what did I do here? Also, if I'm doing 1.5 bill, and if other people could do 1 billion damage, right? Like, this shouldn't be too terrible. And so I had to understand it and try to figure it out. And finally I did, that there's still the priority. Countdowns and juggernauts go and count down at the same time. It's almost like a phase in the game where it's like, okay, you click a button and all these phases happen, right? You have your generate phase and your damage phase and your countdown phase and then your resolution phase, right? Like, it's almost like a chain of events that happens. The countdown phase, your juggernauts and countdowns go down at the same time, but they still trigger from top left to bottom right. So it runs across the first row, and then the second row, and then the third row, all the way down to the seventh. And so when I first played boss battle with her, I put the juggernauts on the very bottom row because I didn't want them to get destroyed. And so my countdowns generated randomly above it, and then the countdowns triggered and turned the board into botch gems. My juggernaut gems never went off. I never got a bonus from my juggernaut gems. It's like, okay, got it. And then the second time, I didn't understand that the first time. The second time, I guess I got 1 or 2 bonuses from my juggernaut gems on the bottom before they got covered up with botch gems. And that's when I hit 600 mil, and that's when I figured something was wrong. And so I put the juggernaut gems in the top left corner, and then left the countdowns on the rest of the board. And that's when I started breaking 1 billion pretty effortlessly, like pretty consistently. It was still a lot of work. You're talking about having Hall of Fame Molly, both gears, 100% gem damage strap, and some really premium trainers and coaches to hitting the 1.5 bill that I was hitting. But you could probably hit 1 billion damage with Hall of Fame Molly with the botch gem bonuses. And you had to put the juggernauts out first. You had to swipe, then you had to put the countdowns out, then you had to swipe a second time so that you got the second turn of juggernaut boosts instead of the first turn, because the second turn is 200%, the first turn is 100%. So that's where your double the damage output comes in. It was this whole, just this whole puzzle that you had to put together. That's really what it was. It was a whole entire puzzle that had to get put together before you could actually get anything done. And so it was frustrating because it's like there's a lot of people and a lot of players that, again, people love to call us the Whaley faction or whatever it is. Plenty of players in our faction couldn't comprehend how to play Hall of Fame Molly. It was a tough experience for a lot of people out there. It was not just a standard, kind of like what BeeRock said earlier about Rex, that you go into feud with Rex and you 1, 2, 3 button click and you win. Like, this was not a 3 button click and win type of boss. Not even in the slightest. So yeah, I guess I subconsciously blocked it out of my head and didn't think about talking about it, and everybody else already talked about their zombie points, but good call out there, BeeRock. Appreciate the heads up there.
Well, the main reason is we're going to have boss battle this coming up weekend.
Yes. That we are.
So, first off, please don't be a zombie woman again. Just please.
Uh-huh.
Be a regular boss battle, and we'll figure it out. It could be a woman. That's perfectly fine. No shade that way. I know, I'm joining TNM that weekend because I'm riding with Shell. I am going to faction jump that weekend. I'm warning anybody who's from my faction who's listening. I love y'all, but I just need one weekend. I need Shell to make me feel like a man again, because I've been the boss battle bitch for like 2 or 3 boss battles in a row. And I again, I'm normally the one that's like, all right, I'm gonna just carry. I haven't carried nothing. I'm not carrying groceries. I'm not holding my water, nothing. Just because it's just so inconsistent is the word I will use.
Sure.
It's been just so inconsistent.
Sure. Well, on that note, let me mark down on my little timekeeper sheet 2 hours 13 minutes. BeeRock says the words "I'm joining TNM," and 20 seconds later, Shell's gonna make me feel like a man again. All right, awesome. That'll be documented for our soundboard clips later on this weekend. So thank you for helping us out with those, BeeRock. Appreciate it. But yeah, I think that's the end of the road here for the podcast. Definitely had a fun one. Definitely enjoyed hanging out with everybody today. A huge shout out to Mr. People's Champion over here, BeeRock. Can't believe you coined that one for yourself today. Thank you, Shell, for showing up as well. Appreciate the input as always. And if you could spare even one of your medal sets for us poor folks would be great. And Envy, you go and enjoy that Jinder, bro. You know what? Just for the YouTube playback, if you're still watching, we're showing the photo once more. There's your 98 million top Jinder line damage with the alerts off, because Envy is locked in. No notifications. Nothing is stopping the Jinder train. But the roundtable train is pulling into the station. Volume 14 is officially done. I thank everybody for tuning on in. I thank everybody for hanging on out in the podcast today at the table. Huge shout out to all of the live listeners as well, chiming in with the live chat too. If you are listening on YouTube and want to be part of the next podcast or the live chat, feel free to hit the Discord link in the description below to join in on the Discord. The podcast is every other Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. That may need to change for the next one because it's tax season and tax time, and that's probably going to be a super jam-packed weekend for me. So we'll see what time that'll happen, but I'll communicate with everybody on the server about that one. Anyway, I am done yammering. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. But until next time, everybody, have a good one.